Welcome to this episode of Our College Your Voices. I'm your host, Kara Monroe. As you heard in episode 142, we discussed ServiceNow, which is a new platform here at Ivy Tech that is bringing us a lot of new functionality, and we said that it was going to be used to redesign MyIvy. And you've hopefully by now seen the emails that talk about MyIvy and how it is changing over to ServiceNow as its new platform. This shift will position MyIvy in a way where we can transform this platform from a conglomeration of links and tools to a truly actionable hub for Ivy Tech students, faculty, and staff. Today, we're going to talk more about the change and what you can expect. Let's meet our guests. First up is Thomas Riebe. Hey, Thomas.
Hey there, Karen. My name's Thomas Riebe. I'm the Chief Technology Officer of the college. I've been at the college now for 18 glorious years, and I'm excited to be here today to talk about MyIvy.
18 years. It just seems like yesterday that you and I met for the first time.
I know.
It's what happens when you've been here for this long, having so much fun.
Yes, it is.
And our other guest today is Phil Kindrick. Hi, Phil.
Hello, Phil Kindrick. I'm the ServiceNow Architect. I've been with Ivy Tech for 4 months, and I'll say it's been one of the busiest 4 months of my life. Service portal rollout and now MyIvy. So it's been very enjoyable so far.
Excellent. Well, we don't like you to, ever believe that you won't be busy here. So we like to start you off very busy. And back in the day, we used to work in offices, Phil. So, someday you might actually meet other people in person.
Right. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. So let's dive in because I've got a lot of questions to ask you. Some that, as you both know, we've pre-prepared. And I'm sure because I like to nerd out about this stuff, I'll ask you some other stuff along the way. So what are you guys most excited about regarding the shift of MyIvy over to ServiceNow?
I'm really excited about the look, feel of the new platform. With the old MyIvy, you had to search around a lot for content, kind of have to know where to go. With the new MyIvy, we have a very robust search feature, so you can find what you're looking for very quickly. You can use, common words to find things. You don't have to be real cryptic in your descriptions. I'm also really excited about the fact that you can favorite things. The old MyIvy, you had to dig down maybe 5, 6, 7 links to find something. Now, if you see something you like, you hit the heart button right next to it. Now it becomes one of your favorites. Next time you log in, just click on your favorites, and there's the link. 1, 2, you're in. So that's real exciting. And the last thing is the possibilities that the ServiceNow platform and MyIvy opens us up to. With the old MyIvy, it was very much, I hate to use the word dumping ground because that's not fair, but it was a place where we put a lot of links, a lot of information, a lot of redundant information out there and just kind of left it be. With the new MyIvy, it's very much a living and breathing ecosystem. So as content changes, as new features become available in other systems, we can quickly link those over or build automated workflows. So our students, our staff, our faculty can take advantage of those workflows and right away feel like they're in a system that not only gives them information, but responds to their needs. A great example of that, and I always use this one, is like, let's say a parking pass. In the current environment, to get a parking pass for campus, you may have to figure out first who I need to talk to, figure out what information I need, figure out, where do I email this to? You fill out a form, maybe you have to scan it, fax it, you send it over to a campus, and you kind of wait. With workflows within the new MyIvy, it can be as easy as you click on a request to get a parking pass. We ask you the information you want. It automatically routes the people for approval. It knows about you. At any time during the process, you can check the status of that request, see who it's waiting on or where it's at in the process. And then hopefully within a couple of days, voila, the parking pass ends up on your desk. So that is a difference between having an automated workflow that can talk to multiple external systems versus just having a link to contact this person or fill out this form and fax or scan over here. You can watch that entire process from beginning to end, know where you're at. And if you have questions along the way, you know who to talk to.
So, Thomas, I think you alluded to what could be considered the biggest win from this shift is that I'll be able to see the status of things as I'm working through them. Can you talk a little bit more about some of the wins that you see?
So for me, it's to kind of build off of what Thomas was saying, the favorites is an excellent aspect of this product. And what that also means is, Thomas kind of alluded to it, that you can just click on my favorites. You can see, your favorites page. For me, this becomes what's a relatively configurable dashboard for the consumers of MyIvy. So it becomes your own homepage. When you land on MyIvy, there's going to be curated content that is bubbled up content that we want everybody to see because it's timely, it's important at that time. Let's say that we're enrolling for classes for next semester. For a student, there's going to be a button right there, dead center, that takes them to where they go to enroll. For staff, it may be performance evaluation time. So there's a button right there on the homepage for a performance evaluation. But that doesn't change the fact that many of us go to MyIvy for the same thing over and over again. So it gives us, we have that favorites dashboard where we can really save those key items for us, key tools, key knowledge-based articles that we reference often. So I'm really excited about that. Thomas talked a lot about the integrations and the workflow automation. ServiceNow is a very robust platform that makes it very easy to integrate with other applications. And then the transparency of that process, having, this My Items page, which is something that's a concept we have now in the current service portal. We've put a lot of work in that visualization and improving that experience based on some of the feedback that we got on the current service portal. So I think that's a really big win. And that's where, as we talk about this, it's a term that I've heard in the industry in the last 2 weeks. It's one of my favorite terms ever, this link farm term. And what that means is that our intranet is just a robust conglomeration of links to other applications. Well, now our intranet becomes something very actionable where we can sit down and it's not just to get us someplace, but it actually does something for us. And it's beyond just, filling out a form and emailing it to Thomas. I fill out a web form and it could do one simple process or it could do 30 different steps. So it's something I'm very excited about.
And I think, am I right that those favorites can change pretty easily throughout the year? So and I don't think this is a great example because of the journal tool that's in it, but right now the performance management tool is something that I'm in almost every day because I'm going through evaluations with my team members. But at other points of the year, I'm going to be in it because I'm going to use the journal function to journal things about evaluations, but I'm not going to be in it every day, multiple times a day like I am now. So I might remove it from my favorites until mid-year conversations or something come up. Is that accurate, Thomas?
That is accurate. And so making something a favorite or unfavorite is simple as hitting think of it as a like button. You put a like button next to it. If you don't want it to be your favorite, unclick the like button. In this case, it's a little heart, but again, it's that simple.
Awesome. So what does this change mean for users of MyIvy?
Well, I think as we kind of alluded to throughout what we talked about so far is that instead of for our users just being a collection of links, just information they can peruse, it's an actionable environment. You can initiate workflows throughout the college. You can request things. It serves your needs. You can customize it towards yours needs. So if I'm an end user, there's 10 things every day that I have to go into the platform for, 10 applications I want to access. You can quickly bring that immediately to your own personal dashboard. If you need to request certain actions throughout the college, you don't have to email people. You can kick off actions within the product that may have 30 steps involved. You don't have to be involved in babysitting all along the way. So it's very much an actionable platform that you can get the things you need quickly and efficiently.
Yeah. And then, furthermore off of that, we've built these concepts of a topic page. The navigation is all topic based. It's what did I log into MyIvy to do today? So maybe we're in performance evaluations. Maybe I'm paying my taxes, whatever those different use cases may be. And I come into MyIvy and I think about it. Like, I'm here to do this action. I select the drop down on the topics and I select human resources, or I select billing and financial aid if that's what I'm there for my purposes today. And that topic page is actually very cool. So it'll have the different tools and resources that currently exist in MyIvy, which may be a link or a PDF or something like that. But in addition to that, it's going to have some of these catalog items, as we call them in ServiceNow, which are those actionable things that fire a workflow and start. And on the right-hand side, it's also got knowledge-based articles that, again, is going to be timely curated content, FAQs. what does this mean from a billing and financial aid perspective? Or what does this mean from how do I download my W-2, whatever that may be. So I think those topic pages are going to be very cool. It goes from being, an employee or student dashboard to a topic-oriented dashboard that has a lot of core items that are bubbled up and put at front and center for that topic so that you can easily get to where you're trying to go.
Yeah, and one thing to add, so Phil brought up a good thing with the FAQs and kind of those knowledge base articles. The nice thing about the platform also is that if you click on a knowledge base or FAQ and you're reading it, and towards the end you want to give feedback on that knowledge base, there's an easy way to contact the author or the group that's responsible for that and say, hey, I read this, I have a question on this, and they'll be emailed and say, here's the feedback on that knowledge base. So again, it gives you, the end user, the ability to interact with the platform in another way to say, okay, this helped me in this regard, but I'd rather have more help on this. You can also rate content. So if you see content out there that's very helpful, you can give it a 5 stars. If it's not very helpful, you can give us one star. And we can use that information then in the back end to say, okay, what content do we need to improve on? Where do we need to add better information? How can we provide more timely information? So again, giving that ability for users to get feedback on what they're seeing, even if it's like, hey, this is maybe they see something that's no longer, it's out of date or not relevant. They can let us know that.
As somebody who has to maintain a lot of content in MyIvy, I especially appreciate that last part. Like, if it's irrelevant, just tell me and I'll take it down. But sometimes it's hard to keep track of all that stuff. That's nice. Yeah. So what does the first day on the new MyIvy look like for me as a user? What am I going to see and what am I going to experience?
First day, it's going to feel a little bit different. You'll see that the actual homepage has changed quite a bit. So instead of having a left-hand navigation bar, it's a top header navigation bar. You no longer have to say, I'm a student or I'm faculty or I'm staff to get to the content that's important to you. It's really just, what am I doing? Why am I on MyIvy? Well, I want to get with billing and financial aid. I have a financial aid question. So I can go to the billing and financial aid topic. In addition to that, for our staff folks, if you're trying to get to some of the different tools and resources that you're familiar with, it's thinking about what you want to accomplish while you're there. If it's related to finance or human resources, et cetera. So really that first day is a shift in mindset from who am I to why am I here? But then it's also that search functionality. I want to encourage everybody that if you can't find it through the topic pages, just type in what you're looking for. It is plain text. It's like you're typing into Google. If I'm looking for schedule builder, if I'm looking for add or drop classes, whatever it is that I want to accomplish, ServiceNow has a robust search functionality to not just look at the title of the item, but it's looking at the description that we type. So it's really scraping a lot to ensure that it gets you where you need to go. So I highly encourage using that functionality. If you land on MyIvy and it's a bit of a shock, just remember that search functionality is there and it's hugely robust. You will not spend 20 minutes looking for LinkedIn Learning. You just type in LinkedIn and there it is. So that's a little bit of day one. It's going to look different, but it is really easy to navigate.
To kind of add on what Phil, there are some things that'll be familiar to our users as well. There's still going to be the calendars, the announcement sections on the homepage. You will see quick links to the most common applications or resources that our staff, student, or faculty click on. Again, that content's curated to you. So if you're a staff-only person, you're going to see quick links to the most popular staff items. If you're a combination of staff, student, or faculty, you're going to see more quick link items. But again, it's going to be there'll be about 9, I think, total quick links that we can show you, without going into either different topics or searching something or favoriting things. But again, we put those quick links up there. And the way we came up with those quick links is we looked at the current MyIvy platform and said, what are the most popular links out there? These are the most common links that everyone clicks on every single day. Let's make those front and foremost.
I really like that you use that data to influence what those links should be. And I, for one, cannot wait for the search part, because I was trying to find what is probably one of the more obscure things that's shoved into a corner of MyIvy, which is how to download Read Write Gold. because I want to talk about that in a Thursday email. And I was like, if the instructions are anywhere, they have to be on MyIvy. I couldn't find them. I actually had to go ask another team member. I'm like, isn't this in MyIvy? I can't find it. And they finally found it for me and sent it to me. But and the what the click path was to get to it, but I should just be able to search for Read Write Gold. And so I'm looking really forward to being able to do that when that comes up. Okay, so we got through the first day. A little bit of a growing pain because if it's not right on my front page, I got to go search, and that's a change for me. So I've got to get used to that. But let's say a few weeks down the road, I'm getting used to it. I know that I'm finding things a lot faster because I'm not having to click around to 2 or 3 different areas to find it. What's the future look like for MyIvy?
For MyIvy's future, we're going to continue to evolve this platform. It's really important to us that we don't just shift it to ServiceNow and then leave it as it is. So you're going to see a lot of change coming through MyIvy in that some of this content that is just references to external systems, we're going to bring that into ServiceNow native. So what I mean by that is maybe it's a Word document that exists out in some other file share. We're going to pull that into a knowledge base article in ServiceNow. That way that content is available throughout the entirety of the platform. So if you're logging a help desk ticket, it shows. If you're asking a general question, this type of stuff populates. And then really it's continuing to grow those truly actionable items. So you'll see stuff starting to shift from links into that. I referenced it as a catalog item, but it's very visibly different in ServiceNow. More of those will appear and more of that actionable stuff is going to start flowing through MyIvy. That way when you get there, it's not just, I don't want to say it's not fair, but it's not a reference to an external system. It is something that's going to get some work done for you.
Yeah, and to kind of add on to what Phil said there, some other areas where we would like to kind of expand the platform is putting more quick information at your fingertips. So for instance, I'll use an employee example. As soon as you log in, the screen kind of divided in different sections, and there's a section on the left that kind of has your name and my info and your favorites, because it's your top 5 favorites. Putting things like what's my available time off or sick time. Maybe we put those type of things on there. That's important to our employees or our students. Maybe it's what is my schedule for the day, or if maybe we decide we want to put some grades out there. Again, we'll work with the different business units to decide what makes the most sense. I don't want to immediately say we'll do those things, but we have the ability to curate relevant data elements right to the top that are important to staff, student, faculty. So determining kind of in phase 2, what are those things that you really just want to see very quickly? You want to log in. As soon as you log in, it's right there in front of your face.
So I know that in the Thursday emails, I've given some calls to action from my friends in OIT here to get involved with the overhaul of MyIvy. So can you talk about what your process has looked like to get feedback up until now that's informing the design of what's rolling out at first, and then what the process looks like going forward to get more feedback as we continue to roll out?
Very early on, when we decided we were going to do the project, we sent an announcement college-wide saying, hey, we're going to do this. It's coming. And there was a survey along with that for if you'd like to help us to evaluate the platform, provide feedback through the development phase, please respond to the survey. And so we had a variety of faculty and staff that did respond to that. We gathered those people up and created them into a kind of a UAT, or users acceptance testing group, to, as we went along with the product, to give us feedback as we laid out different elements of the new platform, saying, does this make sense? Does this not make sense? Does it look good here, not look good here? Is this confusing? In addition to that, we reached out to Student Government Association, as well as some students in some of our IT business classes for feedback on, okay, from a student's perspective, what matters to you, what doesn't matter to you. The feedback was interesting on the current MyIvy. One of the feedbacks that we got from a lot of people was that most of our students never leave the homepage of the current MyIvy. They used to use it for a couple of links. So they use it to get to Gmail. They use it to get to Ivy Learn. They may go to register for class, but that's really as far as they go with it. So for them, it was just the landing page only they ever cared about. And again, I'm sure there are some exceptions, but that was the feedback we got from our students. And from our staff and faculty, what we heard a lot of was the current platform, it's hard to find things. The search doesn't work. Data isn't updated or accurate. And as you pointed earlier, I just can't find things.
Let's dig into that one a little bit more, because I know in one of the emails that went out to executive leadership, and hopefully it's been shared to campuses by now, sort of talks about this as a two-phase process. There's a lift and shift first, and then there's that deeper content integration that's second. I'll say this, being somebody who understands the sort of systems perspective, I was digging around in preparation for this episode just to think about some questions I might want to ask you and those sorts of things. And I realized like there's still stuff that points to like the old InfoNet out there that if you haven't been around for a while, you don't even know what that is. And that content was never searchable. It's not going to be magically searchable just because we connect ServiceNow to it, right? Like what's that second phase look like after we just do this initial launch? That was a really long question. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, so phase 2 is we're going to continue to source feedback. We already actually have a robust backlog built of things that we want to see, like integrations into some of our core systems that will show key data in a fashion that is actually actionable. So like time off, things like that. So phase 2 is going out, sourcing more of that feedback from our users, understanding what's important to them, where do they access external systems to get this information so we can bring it into MyIvy, bring it into that homepage. I will call out InfoNet specifically that it is something that we actually are retiring with this shift. We moved all of that into ServiceNow because it is searchable. So that is one big change in phase 1 that it was a nice quality of life improvement we thought we'd get in. But for phase 2, it's go source out from the key stakeholders in MyIvy, the key functional groups, find out what's important to them and their consumers, whether it be student, staff, faculty, et cetera, and make sure that we can bubble those things up, integrate those things, and do some of that more hyper-technical things rather than just shifting content over.
All right. Well, I don't know about anybody else, but I am super excited. I cannot wait for the new MyIvy to go live and to play around with it. So as everybody knows, if you've listened, every episode ends with a call to action. And so first of all, stay tuned for more details and check out the new MyIvy as soon as it launches. Be sure to use that search bar, get used to it, just like all of us are going to have to do. It's a small change that will make all of our lives better in the end. Thanks again for joining this episode of Our College Your Voices. I want to thank my guests today, Thomas Riebe, Chief Technology Officer in Systems Office, and Phil Kindrick, ServiceNow Architect in Systems Office. I'm your host, Kara Monroe. You can connect with me on Twitter at KNMTweets. Our producer is Sarah Ferguson. You can reach us by email at ourcollegeyourvoices@ivytech.edu. Don't forget, if you're an Ivy Tech faculty or staff member, you can join our Microsoft Teams listener community. Instructions come out in the Thursday email every week. Our website, where you'll find links to our show notes, is ivytech.edu/podcast. Production assistance for this and every episode provided by Becky Campbell and the Ivy Tech Community College Creative Services team. Our concept is by Matthew Pittman. Theme music and post-production services provided by Jen Eads at the Broad City Broadcasting Company. And we will talk to you next time on Our College, Your Voices.